Welcome to the Expressoul Health and Wellness Podcast. In each episode, you'll learn from experts about the best practices and technologies to live a happier, healthier, and hopefully a longer life. Here is your host, Claudia Urdinola.
So, in your opinion, doctor, how nutrition affects the state of health of a person?
Everything. That's why my first test is nutrients, because we are what we eat. And it's true. It's not just, a saying, it's the reality. So a lot of people, and that's, I was again mentioning the diabetes, how can we reverse complications and avoid complications just because we're eating correctly? The same for the liver, the same, for any organs. How can our body has the capability of really going back to the state where it should be, an optimal state, just because they are not eating anything that is poison. Most of the time we're eating poison things that it's sugary, it's high in carbs, and that's one actually the most addicted item that it is in the food products. It is even more than cocaine or anything else. It's sugar. So, and that's what creates inflammation. And a lot of people, they don't get it. And it's just not sugar, the sweetener. It's also what we're putting carbs. All these starches, the refined carbs, they are all sugars that it's just making any, more damage than any benefit to our body. So the idea is to get into the nutrients and to really go and correct what is happening. And that's what I tell my patients. He said, maybe you're doing too much of the carbohydrates, the ones that are refined, or maybe you don't have a good protein intake, or maybe the fats. And that's another consideration because people are afraid of fats. The fats are not bad. The carbohydrates are not bad. Proteins are not bad. It's the ones that you are choosing that are bad. So the fats, we need fats for neural connection. So there is, all these.
Yes, it's the food for the brain.
It's the food for the brain.
Especially the good fats that we find in animal products.
Exactly.
That they are like our own fat. They get bioavailable to our own body. We can use it as an energy.
Exactly. So the monounsaturated, the polyunsaturated fats are the good fats. Now, when you get into a trans fat, obviously we don't want anything that has been processed and elaborated by humans because that's the bad ones that genetically has been modified and has all the inflammatory.
A lot of processes.
Exactly. So, but if we have, again, the power of knowledge, then completely changes everything. Any medical condition can be changed pretty much by what we're eating.
So imagine what happened during COVID. I mean, we know that, having a healthier diet, healthier outcomes overall. During COVID, we find out that most of the people, or a large population affected by the disease, and actually the mortality rate was higher in people that were overweight.
Correct. Overweight and obese. And they were not counting that as unhealthy. They were saying healthy, but it wasn't healthy. They were inflamed and they were having excess of weight, and that is inflammation. And obviously, any virus is not only COVID. Influenza is actually the highest mortality compared to COVID. But it takes advantage of that inflammatory state. And then the patients, they are just having bad outcomes, unfortunately. So again, that's when we need to improve even more what we're eating to boost that immune system.
So in a daily basis, if you have a rule of thumb, let's say, a general recommendation for our listeners, diet-wise, what we should be paying attention to in general, in a general view, because everybody has, it's different. They may need a different protocol. That is what you do. More tailored, more personal to that person.
Correct.
But in general, what it is a good guideline for diet?
So for food intake, I would say have everything in moderation. I don't always say extremes are not good. And if you are going to carry something for too long, that's going to be a problem. So that's what happened with all these trend diets that people, they carry for months. They lose weight for the first 2-3 weeks, and then they have a rebound effect. Then their weight's back. So I always say everything in moderation. Choose the right macronutrients. And if you can do some intermittent fasting, that helps, because it's been proven scientifically speaking that it helps cellularly aging. It helps to regenerate. It helps for that mitochondria. And actually, our ancestors, the ones that has been living longer, they were not eating huge amounts of food. They were eating less, but they were eating good calories. They were having good, intake of those calories, because it's not the same saying that you're going to have 1,400 calories, but it's bad sources compared to 1,400 calories of good sources. So if you're going to have a limitation in energy, let's say once a week or 2 times a week, because you want to do an intermittent fasting, then you have to choose also during the times that you're going to eat the right products that you're going to put in your mouth.
Correct.
Otherwise, it's going to miss the purpose of longevity, of anti-inflammatory, because that's what it is, one of the properties of doing intermittent fasting. So I do advise my patients when they are, excess of weight or they have any autoimmune conditions, let's try to add some intermittent fasting in your regimen, at least once or twice. If they have never done it, then we'll go slowly. But again, no extremes. So when they start like doing 24, 48 hours, that's too much.
No.
That's a stress in your body. And then again, cortisol is going to go high.
And then they hate it.
And then they hate it. And they don't lose any weight. They gain more weight.
Yes, because
they're stressed. They're
the
like,
body
I
doesn't
need to
understand what is happening
Exactly,
here.
exactly.
No, I think consistency is key.
Consistency, discipline. Exactly.
At my house, we do the intermittent fasting, and we understand that eating the right amount of protein, the fiber, we need to do everything in that window of time that we're eating.
Exactly.
To bring to our bodies what it needs. I always put this example, doctor. I mean, think about your car and those that have the gas car. You go and put more gas that the car needed? No. You put what the car needs. Then go.
Exactly.
Why we think that our bodies, they're just a repository of everything that it comes along, it's just that analogy. We shouldn't be giving our bodies more than it needs.
More than it needs, exactly. And that's why we create problems. It's like it's overflowing whatever we're doing. And again, excess or any, lack of is going to create problems. And that's what is inflammation, right? Good inflammation, it's important. But when it's constantly and it's chronically, that's when it creates problem. And that's what happens with food. If people are doing excess and chronically, that creates a problem.
Thank you very much for listening. And if you like the information that we shared with you today, please subscribe to the Expressoul Health and Wellness Podcast and follow us in the social media outlets of your choice. Until next time, please remember, health is wealth for the body, mind, and soul.